The following voice recording is for entertainment purposes only.
Hey Padawans, good morning and happy Christopher Columbus Day. But his real name is Cristobal Colón de Carvajal. Or you can call him Cristoforo Colombo. But Cristobal Colón is actually his real name. And the reason I'm talking about this is because, over the last 5 years, there's been a lot of hate by the left, taking down the statues of Cristobal Colón, saying that he was a bad guy, that he was, here to spread Christianity, and that's not what happened. And so that's why I want to talk about this. And look, I'm not here to teach you history, but what is being taught with artificial intelligence, and when you go to Google and you search, it's being manipulated. The information, the real information, is being updated to fit the narrative of the left. That somehow this guy was a bad white guy. He wasn't even white, okay? But so that's why I want to talk a little bit about this. I always been a fan of Cristobal Colón. He was very smart. I mean, the guy was. We all know he was an explorer, but he knew how to read. Okay, he knew how to write. He wrote a lot of letters that you should all read. Okay, he wrote letters to Spain when he was in his voyages. And the guy had, I believe he did 4 or 5 voyages from Spain to the Americas. The first, I believe it was 14, because this is a lot of information, okay? This is a lot of information. He landed in Salvador in 1492. So that's when he discovered America. Not the United States, America. And we all know that he had a crew. He had really cool ships, made of wood. La Santa Maria, I think, was the biggest one. Then they had the Pinta and the Niña, which was the smaller ones, But this guy was a genius, and the disrespect that he gets, I just saw in the news that there's some people throwing paint at his in one of the museums because they think that this guy was, up to no good, and he just came here to enslave people and make people captive, and they make him out like he's a bad guy. But the reality is that he was really a nice guy, really smart. And yeah, okay, he was Italian, but he literally became Spanish, okay, because he was working under the Spanish rule of Queen Isabella. And now in those days they wanted to explore, they wanted to find different lands for the Spanish Empire. But these people, when I say these people, I'm talking about Americas also. Americas, he's the one that discovered America. But locally, for example, we have, here in the West Coast, there was a guy called Cabrillo, Juan Cabrillo. He's the one, and we have a monument here in San Diego where he landed over here on the shore of, I think it was somewhere northern of Coronado, because Coronado was also another explorer. There was a lot of explorers that came later after Cristobal Colón. They came over here to landed in California. and a lot of people don't know about them, but they have very long history. Okay, but just to keep it sort of simple, and the reason I'm making this video is because I think that history is being erased, and people don't want to tell the truth. Now, think about this. It's just I just want you to visualize. You're Christopher Columbus, or you're Cabrillo, or you're Amerigus, and a lot of these guys are my ancestors. So it is important to me. They come from. Most of these people are exactly where my ancestors come from, east of Portugal, south of Basque, and Spain. And I know that they call it Americas. I know that I think he was also Italian, and Christopher was Italian. But then there was a lot of Spanish explorers too. And the reason the reason I'm bringing up Cabrillo is because he's one of the most famous, at least in my area. And I think he died in Catalina Island. So when people lie about these explorers, these geniuses that knew everything, they knew astronomy, they knew exploration, they knew how to read maps, okay, they knew how to use compasses. I mean, come on. Obviously, these people were smart. And the Spanish are some of the nicest people in the world. We don't start wars. We don't kill people. We don't do anything bad. We're good people. But I also hate when the current, left, like the people that are Democrats, when they attack the white man and they say, "Oh, the white man came to America to rule and and kill everybody and spread hate and Christians and Catholicism and they're bad people." Converting the natives, including the American Indians in the West. But what I want to say to you is, you're in a ship, for example. You're cruising the seas, the Atlantic. And let's say you land, I don't know. Christopher Columbus went to a lot of places. He went to a lot of places in South America, okay? Mostly a lot of areas in the Bahamas, like Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, because I guess it was closer. And they did land later on in Tenochtitlan in the Yucatan Peninsula, but that was a little bit later. Christopher Columbus did not discover America. That was Americus, okay? But what I'm trying to say is, okay, the Americans back then were like the Aztecs, okay, the Incas, the Oltecs. Now these guys were warriors, okay? These guys were cannibals. They were satanic. They were killing people in top of pyramids, okay? They had a god, the sun god. They had all these weird ass crap that. Now, if they would have been nicer, okay, let's say somebody lands. This is what happened. They land on the shore, okay, in the Pinta. Let's just say in the Niña or in the Santa Maria. So these guys show up on a ship, and they get off the ship, and they walk around, and they're looking around, and all of a sudden these Incas and these Aztecs attack them, board the ship, take the women, kill the crew, okay? Now, these were not educated people. And I will tell you, I got to admit to you, the people in South America, the the natives, and it goes all the way down to Peru and a lot of these places. Okay, they were not very nice people. They received the Spanish with violence. Okay, just what they are doing right now. The Democrats with all this political violence. They could have been nicer. I mean, hey, if you see some people come into your home, knocking on the door, you could say, "Hey, how are you doing? Welcome. How are you?" No, instead they had all these, arrows and axes and knives, and they killed them. They attacked them, and that's what bothers me. That nobody tells you that. I took California history in college, California history 1 and 2, and even when Cabrillo and Coronado came to here to San Diego, the shores of Coronado, the Native American Indians attacked them. Now, what are they supposed to do? Just take it? I mean, come on. You can't. You got to be realistic. If you show up anywhere, okay, and this is the problem that I have when I talk to a lot of the American Indians. Because even the same thing happened here in California when the white man shows up, and all these tribes went after them and tried to kill them, scalp them. And where I go, they have the San Lueño tribe. They have a lot of tribes over here. They got the Rincons, the Siquans, a lot of them. But when they saw, and they were not white, these guys were Spanish. Okay, these guys were my ancestors. Cabrillo was my ancestor. He was literally born in Portugal, next to where my family's from. Okay, and they showed up and they got attacked, crucified. Okay, their women were raped. So look, if they would have been nicer to these explorers, that would have never happened. Okay. Here we have a lot of mystic people here. It's a great mix. But what I'm trying to tell you guys is that there was no reason for these tribes and these American Indians to attack the white man when they showed up. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm defending anything they did, but they reacted. They were defending themselves, and that's the same thing that happened in South America, in East Mexico, in Veracruz, when they went to Mexico City and they seen all the pyramids and all the sacrifices they were doing. The Aztecs were eating fucking hearts. Okay, they were eating and killing women and eating their bodies, and they try to kill them. What do you think is going to happen? You're supposed to just say, "Oh, hi, okay, we're gonna go. Let me get back on my boat and go away." No. And of course, they wrote a lot of letters to the Queen, the Queen of Spain, and they explained what was going on. Queen Isabella, and they said, "Hey, we're over here. We're in new land, and they're attacking us. What are we supposed to do?" And of course, Isabella and the Spanish Empire, they say, "Hey, okay, we'll send some backup. I mean, if you guys are getting killed over there, we're just walking around and just like looking around and exploring, doing looking at the rocks and just walking around in the mountains, and you guys are getting killed and attacked by these people. We're gonna do something about it." And that's what happened. So what I'm trying to say is that currently education, when it comes to the Spanish explorers, who were, again, there was a mix. Some of them were Italian, some of them were Spanish. Not everybody was Spanish. Okay, I can name like 10, but like I said, I'm not here to give you a history lesson. What I'm trying to say is when somebody is exploring a new continent or a new planet, let's say we go to Mars, okay? We send Elon, and Elon lands on Mars, and then he's attacked by the aliens, and his crew is all killed by the aliens. What do you think is going to happen? Trump is going to send a fleet to kill them, to exterminate the aliens on Mars. And I know it sounds a little crazy, but if they could have been nicer, if the tribes here, at least in California, wouldn't have killed these, the gold rush. We had the gold rush. We had all these people coming in, the cowboys, and everybody moved to California because the gold. And if the tribes here, the American Indians, didn't go crazy and start attacking, why couldn't they be welcoming? Say, hey, okay, you know what? Welcome here. Let me show you around. Let's make a treaty. Let's get around. We'll be helpful. No, they were assholes, and they love to kill. All right, they love to kill. Trust me, I know a lot of them. And yeah, this might be a little controversial to say, but that's the reality, and they're not teaching you this in school. These people were the nicest. Okay, these explorers were the nicest. They were not evil men. They did not come here to change the world. They did not come here to enslave women or anything like that. The indigenous, and I know they call it the Indigenous Day, whatever, they were the ones that attacked first. That's the truth, right? So there is no way there could be Indigenous Peoples Day because they're the ones that attacked the Spanish first. How does that work? Isn't that gaslighting? It's just ridiculous. And for years, I loved the history of Cristobal Colon, and I read the books, and I think I've seen a couple of the movies, but these people were not bad people. The same with the white man coming to California. They did not have to be, shot at with an arrow and dragged by their head and decapitated. Come on, man. These people were savages. I'm telling you. Okay, look, I maybe said enough. Probably piss off a bunch of people, but I'm just being who I am, and I'm telling you the truth. Okay, if they would have just been nicer people to the welcoming, they had no agenda. These explorers from Spain had no agenda, but only to, greet you and show you a little bit of, hey, maybe you shouldn't be killing people in pyramids, in pits of pyramids, and eating people, like cannibalism. Maybe you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, come on, this isn't it common sense? Did you guys know that the Aztecs, the Incas, they played soccer with a human head? So I understand why they did what they had to do. Okay, they had to take care of business. You're not gonna let these satanic indigenous people do what they want to do. I know. Okay, you're not from there, but it's complicated. Okay, it's really complicated. Should they just have left? I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, that's all I'm gonna say. Happy Christopher Columbus Day, Cristobal Colon, and may the force be with you. Bye.